B Grow Solid, what's going on? How you doing? Waiting for Jamar to get back on. What's up, Plex? Some crazy history though, bro. Oh, okay. Hold on. What up, brother? I'm trying to see if I can get Jamar back on. Let me see. Hold on a second. Not much. Just waiting for somebody to get back on with me with the live from Florida. We got to get you on here too, though, bro. Let's set up a date. That'll be fresh.
Hello.
All right, Jamar.
All right. So where were we?
I want to show you these real quick. Check this out.
Look like Pumas. True.
The color scheme, bro.
I see that turquoise and gray.
Turquoise and that's on turquoise.
All right. True.
Come on, bro. Mikey Ice, let's get it.
All
I've
right.
always,
How you doing?
I've always had these, bro. I had these shoes 3 years ago.
You know what I look for? I look for the gray and black, suede gray and the black line,
Yeah.
or one of those colors like that. Hard to find all the time.
You know which ones I've always wanted? And I don't know why I bought every color in the world but that one. I want the purple with the yellow, and I want the original ones that they wore in B Street. I want the burgundy with the gray stripe.
Burgundy with the gray. Wow, I might have missed that one.
The one that they had on B Street.
Okay. Hey, I want to get back to Ivan.
Okay.
I want to get back. Let me. When I did art of b-boying, there was a term I used. I put power trick. All right. I don't know if you ever saw a flyer on rap pages where I put power trick. All right. Where I got the idea to do power trick is I saw Ivan practicing one day. Ivan would do like 5 windmills and then he would go into a dead man. Ivan would go. He instead of going down normally, he went down orthodox. So which means if he power moves to the right, he quickly spun left and did a baby to the left, or did a baby to the right, baby to the left, and then came back into a straight leg pencil and then went into another dead man. And I said, yo, this dude, what is he doing? Like, he's doing power moves, but he ain't exploding with the power, and then he's killing it. And I said, yo, this nigga doing tricks. So you see what I'm saying? So in his practice, and you can see Remind and the other cats, they're beginners. They're like in a little whatever, a garage. And Ivan he's making everybody laugh with his power because he looks like he's gonna explode and then he kills it. He stops it. But what he's doing a style that he never perfected. And that's why I termed power trick. And then I started spreading that when I would be around some of the kids, I would say, yo, try to take some of your moves, whether it's float, whether it's flares, and turn it into something nobody would think of. Hence the power trick. But the dude I first seen do it was Ivan. Do you know what I'm
Okay.
talking about?
Yeah, that's me. I filmed it.
I
Let
know,
me
but
tell
do
you a
you see the
story though.
style?
Yeah, yeah, I seen the style. Let me tell you, before Ivan even got to a level where he was going, all that traveling, all the stuff you would see him doing, I was that guy. Like I'm the guy that was picking him up in my car and putting him in the back seat, taking him to the dances, though, bro. That's a lot of times. A lot of people don't understand. Majority of people that kind of got a name for themselves, like here on the West Coast, they started with hanging out with me, though, bro. Honestly,
I
at
see
least
that.
90%. Even Vietnam, even Flexum. You know what I'm saying? Like all these guys that made like real big names for themselves at one point in time, everybody was looking like they was looking up to me for inspiration.
Like that's dope. That's dope. Now check this out.
Yeah.
When I seen Ivan battling K-Mel, okay, here it
Mm.
is. Because you see the same thing play out with Ken Swift. Ken Swift goes against K-Mel in a circle. Now what I'm looking at is style. I'm looking at,
Okay.
are you willing to go full all the way out there with your style, or are you gonna back off? You know what I'm saying? And so what I seen
Mm.
with K-Mel and Ken Swift is K-Mel was ready to throw down. That's what I saw in K-Mel. He was ready to throw down. And I saw in Kenny where he was not really going all out. And I said, okay, your style doesn't let you go all out. And the reason I say this because when you see Remind and you see Crumbs, it's always to the fullest because they
Mm.
have so much confidence in their style. And you start seeing a lot of people that do that style. You know how when you battle a power mover and someone with a style like Remind a clean as clock. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because of the style dictates
Mm-hmm.
how many times you go down on that floor. Now
Yeah.
with with what's his name? Urban Action Figure. Watch this. He had a style to do along with reminding Crumbs was the power trick. He didn't really have to go out there and do explosive footwork. He didn't have to go out there and do explosive long power move combinations. He could have perfected that power trick and stayed on par with that. That's my opinion. What I saw.
Okay. Hey, Jamar. Chilsky said, once you talk about your history when you guys got to Florida from Connecticut.
Okay, I tell you, that's where I'm at right now. I'm in Connecticut. Okay, so he wants me to go into the 80s. All right. So when
Yeah.
all
Hold
my
on one second.
b-boying,
One second. One second. With that being add, I want to ask you, starting back a little bit earlier, when was the first time that you ever seen breaking?
okay, first time I ever saw anything
Ever.
to do with hip hop, West Coast Styles. West Coast Styles is the first thing I ever saw because of Soul Train. Soul Train was that thing. Every Saturday we waited. We waited to see the motherfucking Soul Train line. And that's when motherfuckers would come out there. I didn't even know it was called locking. At the same time, for me, my age is 6 years. I was born in 68. So I'm like 51, 52. I don't know exactly how old I am right now. All right.
Okay.
So that's the first time I would consider hip hop. Whether you want to say hip hop is just breaking, I don't agree with it. I say going off any style of dance like that was hip hop. That's the way I look
Mm-hmm.
at it. So that's why I'm doing the robot at 6 years old. I'm that cat
Okay.
in the middle to say all the gangbangers because dancing was part of being tough and being bad and that whole swag. You know what I'm saying? I have a picture on my Facebook. I'm like 5 years, 6 years old doing the robot, trying to copy them, and then doing the mind.
Mm-hmm.
Remember you do mind? Now here comes with the
Mm-hmm.
b-boy. 1976, 1977. I have not my oldest brother, but my second oldest brother. He gets taken with his friend to the city because we live 2 hours away from New York. Now in Connecticut is like California. You don't really just have to get to New York. New York starts already. Connecticut
Mm-hmm.
goes right to the Bronx. We go from White Plains. There's another area there, and then Bronx, because it's all islands. If you know anything about New York, Queens is an island, I think. Is an island. So Connecticut and the Bronx go into each other. Their radio stations, we grew up on them. It's like Jersey. If you go to Jersey, you catch New York station right there. You know what I'm saying? So New York radio stations bombard Connecticut for like an hour and a half deep into Connecticut. Just like Rhode Island gets all the Boston music. You see what I'm trying to say? So now, 77 around there, my brother Groucho goes to New York and he sees the gangs, not B-boys. He sees the gangs bugging out. And now, what the gang that he was around was called the Savage Nomads. They doing a dance called outlawing. That's what they're doing. It's not really the bing bong thing going up and down like that. It's mainly a lot of gesture and well, I'll let him tell that. I can't speak exactly. I'm going to tell you what I saw my brother do. So he saw the gangs out. He comes back to Connecticut and he's doing this for like 3 years. I never really know what the fuck he's doing. You know, I seen him just going off. It's just a natural thing, right? Now he's doing these things to my face and I'm like fucking trying to defend myself, go back at him, you know what I'm saying? So by the time 78 comes rolling around, he develops his first crew. It's called Chill Breakers Crew. That's they straight out of Park Street. In my opinion, you got north side of Hartford and south end of Hartford. Frog Hollow, Park and Broad is where the Savage. Now we are straight up New York influence here in Connecticut. Straight up. Okay. We have our own style. They have the Magnificent 20s, Emperors, like gangs like that. But as far as that culture, we're no different than you are on the West Coast. It's from New York. We just live real close to it, real close. You know what I'm saying? So my brother has his Chill Breakers, and a bunch of them get shot up because of two gangs, Ghetto Brothers and Savage Nomads, going at a war, and like Latin Locals or whatever. So that crew dies out. Now comes the Block Boys, is what Chill's talking about. This is a second generation crew that comes out, right? And now these dudes are older than me. I'm the shorty there. So I come out and I'm breaking on my own because of my brother Groucho, which is the same way a locker. When a locker throws down to the floor, because sometimes I think, did West Coast develop b-boying on their own, or would they have? Because when I see West Coast go on the floor, I see all this energy. They don't stop. You tell me, when a locker goes to the floor and he does like those 4 or 5 moves, is he trying to break or he's blocking?
He's actually locking, but to tell you the truth though, like, there was already people out here on the West Coast that was doing footwork, but it had no connection with hip hop, because I seen people in the 70s. I seen a black girl drop to the floor and she's doing helicopters. You know what I'm saying? And I see somebody jump up in the air, we call it the dolphin dive, and they will start doing the centipede. So if they're doing helicopters and dolphin dives, they're already breaking.
Okay, that's my point. Because I see Mr. Freeze out there on Solid Gold, and he's with these lockers, Sugar Pop and all these other cats, and the lockers go down, and they're doing these moves, and I'm like, see? That we have always seen that in lockers. They have always, the term was go off, right?
That's what it was called. Yeah, that's. I want to share that with you real quick. That's another things that I was telling people on the East Coast. Everybody was saying like rock. They were saying the go off, and they were saying burning. But here on the West Coast, when we seen that at a very young age, we called it getting off. That's what we were saying. We'll see somebody be like, hey, LaDon, let me see you get off. They'd be like, oh, yeah, he's getting off. So when it was called getting off, here on the East Coast, it was called the go off.
Okay, so now I'm going to bring that into play right here. So the first style of breaking that I saw was not the repetitive motion where you go to the floor and you do the same move 1, 2, 3 times. You go to another move and do that move 1, 2, 3 times, because now you're not dancing. So whether it's a step, whether you're doing a 6-step 3 times, a backspin 3 times, or a knee rock 3 times, to a real dancer, say like a locker or a rocker, like the Brooklyn Rockers and all them, that's not dancing no more. To them, they make it up on the spot. like what you saw the
Mm.
lockers do. So there's nothing that they're doing 5 times in a row. There's not, you know what I'm saying? There's no patterns. There's
Okay.
always just being hype going off this way, that way, left, right, this and that. So that was my first experience as a b-boy because my brother was a salsa dancer. He did hustle, he did robot, he did mine, he did a little bit
Mm.
of whatever he saw on Soul Train. My brother was that dude, but everybody was. Soul Train was the shit. So my first experience in a b-boying wasn't the true b-boying that you see in the Bronx where they developed the shuffle, they developed the
Okay.
six step, and now you're doing it over and over and over. You know what I'm saying? So later, around 1981, the shuffle comes out. My brother Reno, he goes to the city and this and that, and he's 2 years older than me. And now it is his crew that I will get down with. That's gonna come to Florida. I had my own crew for the first 3 years, Chili Homeboys. So I'm from a crew that goes before what Chilsky's talking about. So I had my crew Chili Homeboys, and before that I was down with Reno and the Chill Out crew. So this is 78, 79, around there. In no means way am I a breaker of what you think a breaker is. I am a breaker as far as when I top rock, I'm trying to be aggressive. I'm looking cool. The way you saw them top rock in B Street is when I met people. I didn't see B Street in Connecticut. When I came to Florida, I saw B Street, but I seen people top rocking like B Street. And I was like, what the fuck is that? That ain't fucking breaking. I thought that was some
Mm.
dope shit.
Mm.
That wasn't, you know what I'm saying? So think about when you rock, right? Or when you Brooklyn rock, you're trying to be cool. You're trying to be aggressive. That's the top rock I go. That's why Chilsky, he relates to me, and I relate to Chilsky. If you ever see Chilsky top rock, he's phenomenal. He's always aggressive. He's dope. If
Seen
you
it. Chelsea. Well.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. That was the way I learned breaking. Being aggressive, not walking around in a circle, not going left, right, what you saw on B Street. I never did no shit like that. What happened is that when I came to Florida, I met all these New Yorkers and I met these cats from Rhode Island. They were doing that style. They were breaking or introducing themselves like Ken Swift and Crazy Legs. And I got, like, because there were so many, I got into what they were doing. But
Oh.
originally, if you look at the way I used to top rock and the way I learned it from the Chill Breakers, my brother Groucho, Teaspoon, Pace, Page, all these cats, there was no left, right. That wasn't breaking to me. That was not breaking.
Mm.
So here I am coming into that generation. So the generation I wanted was the generation where they were 16, 17, and they try to act like they 21. They dress more pimp. You know what I'm saying? They trying to get into clubs. They trying to get older women. I want that generation, but I'm caught. So I get into the generation where they wear Pumas, they wear Adidas suits, and it's like, I like it, it's dope. But Saturday night, I want to be like John Travolta. I want to be pimp, all nice, decked out. You know what I'm saying? So I missed that era. I'm that kid.
Okay.
I missed the 70s, even though I was there for it. So I come in for the 80s. The 80s more little knucklehead, all day Pumas, all day Adidas. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit different. The dancing changes. It's not that much style anymore. You know what I'm saying? If you put a locker compared to a b-boy breaker, like the way Crazy Legs and this cat introduced themselves in B Street, a locker got more flavor. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
But if you look at, you see what I'm saying? So I used to introduce myself like, and I'm gonna say like this too. A lot of black people when they break, a lot of girls when they break, you can see it in their uprock. There's just so much flavor. You, next time, take a look at it. Look at the difference when a black dude breaks because it's the culture. It's the culture. And look at females. When
Mm.
they introduce themselves breaking, they always have more flavor. Why? Because it's, you can tell the music dictates it. So that's why we used to say, oh, he's a break dancer, right? Because he comes out left, right, left, right. Now sometimes I get caught up with that during practicing, and because I came, and the new generation that came up with the pound moves and the six step and all that, they went away from dancing. Uh, so now, so I have both mentalities now. I have the mentality of being, cool, trying to be aggressive, trying to look tough with your introduction up rock. And I have the mentality of the new school type that came in with the, 6 times same moves, another 6 times same move, six steps, same backspin, all that shit. So I come down to Florida, and Florida is same thing. There's a lot of transplants here. My brothers come down. So we were turned down to the graffiti because we live close to New York. So my brother's a graffiti artist. He does, murals and all that. My other brother is a writer, Groucho. He'd go out bombing all the time. My other brother does throw ups. He does graffiti. He's a DJ. And then you got me, that I'm the youngest one. I missed it because remember I experienced breaking died out twice in my life. I experienced in the 70s, right in 81, 80, it died out. And then in 82 again, it starts to surface a little bit. And by 83, Flashdance comes out. And now everybody knows breaking. You know what I'm saying? And then 85 again, it dies out. So I'm over here in 83 in Florida. And we go out to Miami, we go to the Orange Bowl, and they got some graffiti out here. Later on, I'll meet a lot of people out here that same story as me. The mother divorced the father and come out to Florida. And we all come from Philly. We come from Rhode Island, Boston, Jersey, New York. And that's what Chilsky's talking about, because we brought black books out here. And some of the black books that we brought out, they went out to Miami or wherever they went. And it was a good way to share the culture. You show a black book, you start seeing, oh, shit, look at the writing. Yo, look at the character. Oh, you know what I'm saying? So that's some of the shit that Chilsky's talking about. And he's talking about my brother, too, who used to have a crew called Can Masters. And so I used to tag along with him, with my boy Peace, my boy Pose, my boy Nas, who actually became graphing with Swift. And another dude called Alien, who's actually Swift's boy. And we did this piece, but I was just a color man. My brother said, yo, color all this shit, this color. He won't let me do no techniques or nothing like that. So we do all the filling. We went all into Miami. We went to places that nobody wanted to touch. We did the rooftops. I think they did a train. They did all these things. And here's another funny thing. Miami had some dope graph writers, right? They had all that shit going on, but we didn't know each other, so we was at war with them. So I don't know if you know Seam. So one day I was chilling with Seam, and he doesn't know I'm a block boy. And I don't know he's a VO5, Now in the 80s, with Ozrock, we shooting at these motherfuckers. We guns and everything. We see in another club banging up, boom, 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 boom. And a lot of times, sometimes I wasn't in those fights because I'm breaking, right? And my boy, sometimes he'll break and then he'll go out trying to get girls. He gets caught up with all these thugs in Miami and shit. And all of a sudden there's a fight breaking out. Bah, 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 bah. These are Chilsky's boys. These are his boys. Now watch this. So we left the 80s never knowing each other. I'm coming from Broward County. They're in Dade County. You know what I'm saying? And it's not supposed to be that someone from the suburbs is dope. It's usually the city where all the dope shit is. No matter what city you go to, the city produces the dope shit. You know what I'm saying? But with us, it was a little different. My mom didn't take me to I would have loved to have been in Miami because the little bit I used to go into Miami, whether it was 79th Street, the Beat Club, and all these things, Miami was that city. It was a fucking city. I'm in Hollywood, even though Hollywood had its shit, but it wasn't like being in the fucking city. You know what I'm saying? And in the 90s, I met up with these cats, right? We're sitting around me, Seam, and Speedy Legs. We're trying to bring the breaking back. And something Speedy said, and Seam said, yo, what you said, BB Love? You know what I'm saying? Back in the days, we would have crashed each other. And then he said, yo, you BB Love? I said, yeah. I said, why? He goes, you're on VO5. Yo, we had just spent months breaking with each other. And he doesn't know I'm BB Love, and I don't know he's VO5. And I know back in the day, he'd take my head off, and vice versa. Yo, but we were so engraved, so knee-deep with the b-boying together. All this b-boying we were doing, we weren't going to throw that shit away. That motherfucker put his hand out to me. I grabbed his hand. Oh, shit, we shook hands. And that led to me, through Team, I started seeing Chilsky and all these cats. I don't know if you know his story. They were doing mad productions, bro. You know
I spoke to Chilsky earlier. Like we did an interview about a month ago. I wanted to ask you this though, bro, and I know it's controversial. It's gonna be controversial, but I was told, and I was just like, all right, let me find out if this is true. Somebody told me, I'll tell you later. because I don't really want to stir it up too crazy though. But somebody was telling me that they said when they was breaking when Oz was out here, they said Oz didn't like black people. Oz wasn't cool with the black b-boys when he was out here in the 80s though. A lot of people was breaking around him, and so they kind of felt a lot of resistance from him though. You know what I'm saying? So what I from the information I was told that people was telling me that was growing up in the 80s when Oz was out here, they said Oz wasn't fucking with black people.
All right, I'm gonna tell you what. I fucked with Oz. He was my neighbor.
Yeah.
There was a place called the Base Station. All right, but before we get to the base station, Oz used to sell cable, and his area was Carver Ranches. I went to Hollandale High School, all black school,
Okay.
That's what I went to, Hollandale High. So all them cats that I knew, they would be bust out from Carver Ranches. Now Oz used to sell cable there, and I used to be with Oz. And now I who grew up with blacks in Hartford and everything, right? Even though I went to school with them, I never really been all up in there as a b-boy. Because remember, Florida got different style. They really didn't accept b-boy style. Not at all. That's another huge history right there. If you listen to the music that was coming out here, bass music, it was, and I know Tilsky and all these b-boys, they had a hard time with the culture that was already here first. And that's because of the dissing that New York does. New York had this thing, where they went, they put this diss out there. So nobody's going to bow down to you, you know what I'm saying? So with that in mind, Oz, if you know him, had a huge personality. And we used to go out to, what do you call it, Carver Ranches, and he said that's where he sold cable. I used to ride with him, me, Pose, Dope Deal, Nas. All my boys are Jamaican, except for Nas is a white boy. And we used to roll up in there in Carver Ranches, and he'd be out there talking to all of them, selling cable, popping and locking, and they'd tell us to come out, and we'd start breaking. And next thing you know, so if there was anything that he had that he didn't feel it, I never knew about it. I never knew about it. Now, that was all the time. We'd be up in Lake Forest, Carver Ranches, because that's where he sold cable. He didn't sell cable in no white neighborhood. So if there's a dark side to him, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Now, here's the thing he used to do. When we used to go b-boying, there was no place to go. He said, yo, let's go to the base station, right? Now, I used to listen to WEDR 99 Jams. No, WEDR before it was 99 Jams. And they used to advertise the base station, right? So, and remember, Florida's bass music, not no hip-hop really, right? And so when we go out there, I'm in, I think I'm in Overtown. We're in Overtown, right? Now, you know, we still chilling, right? Miami neighborhoods ain't no fucking joke, bro. You know what I'm saying? So we up in there, right? And we gonna break. We're gonna break, but yo, they don't like breaking out here. You know what I'm saying? But we gonna break anyway. So I can get us in. I'm like, damn, I'm being the base station. Wow, that's not a place I would have went on my own. You know what I'm saying? So I go with Oz and him, with another dude out here named Raheem, a writer and all that. So we all going to the base station. Dog, if Oz did not like black people, or if it's a secret, I don't know. I've been places in Connecticut where I compare to a black neighborhood bumping and thumping bass music at a club in the neighborhood like a roller rink. Dog, if you just don't like that, you can go up in there. And maybe that's a secret he kept. If there's something on him, I would not believe he would go in there like that. Yo, we went in there. We broke. There was about 50,000 fights that broke off in there, in that place. And when we left, Oz was the main one talking to people. Yo, blah, 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 blah. And he could do that in any neighborhood too. Sometimes we'd be in a place where there's police and white people. He'd be the one to talk our way out of it. Wherever, you know, police roughed us up, yo, what y'all doing there, blah, blah, blah. He talked his way out of it.
Okay.
That's what I knew about. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna roll with that. Like, I'm not trying to stir up anything. Somebody was speaking to me, an older brother though, that's original B-boy, and you know, right down the street is where the original Radiotron used to be at. It's probably about a 5-minute walk. I'm right down the street. I'm actually at the park where they shot Breaking 2. So this whole area right here, this is where Oz used to be at. In the 80s, Oz was at this park here in LA. You
Now, the
know,
only enemy of the state that Oz got, the only enemies I would say that he had, right, was one thing he told me one day, and I told you this before, and I love to repeat this, bro. I love to repeat this because it falls later. When I was learning Brooklyn from tracks from Providence in New York, I didn't understand what Brooklyn meant. Remember, I'm doing outlaw, savage nomads from the Bronx. I'm learning. I'm hearing this term in '83. Oh, can you Brooklyn? Every time I meet a Zulu cat, yo, can you Brooklyn? It's always this Brooklyn thing, right? Okay, okay. Well, later on, we all start finding out that the rock comes from Brooklyn, right? So it makes sense why they kept saying Brooklyn. So Oz one time tells me, we're laid out practicing, we feel our tired and everything. He always starts with his rock steady story. That's another thing. All night at the end of a practice, Oz would talk about rock steady, rock steady, rock steady. And he said this one time, yo, y'all want to know something funny? So we're like, yeah, what's up? He said, yo, Crazy Legs used to send me to to Astoria, Queens, or whatever with Dynamic, right? And he says, yo, go learn how to rock like them. Go learn the Brooklyn rock. Go learn. This is his words. This is what he told me, right? Which we all grew up with the rock steady thing. They never bit nothing. They never did nothing. You know what I'm saying? But this
mm,
is classic because now that we start learning that Brooklyn or has a different borough, not everything comes from the Bronx. You feel me?
mm,
And this is where I heard this in 1986. It was all on film. There's so many practices, so many things that we did that Oz had on film because he had the camera. So, but
mm,
his grandmother, Oz, passed away. You know that he died, and all this film he had stayed with his grandmother. Now, back to the story. I told you before. But anyways, for anybody out here, and I ran up with Spinner, and Spinner said it on Facebook. He said, yeah, that's why Oz almost got crashed because we caught on to what he was doing, coming around us, trying to learn the Queens, because Queens and Brooklyn are close in borough. So it's natural that Queens could rock like Brooklyn do because they buddies, those two boroughs. That's why you
mm.
see in the battle, there's a battle, a big time battle in New York, Queens and Brooklyn versus Bronx and Manhattan. We get it. It comes down to it as dynamic rockers or the dynamic versus rock steady. But anyways, long
Mm.
story short, I said, let me try what fucking Oz told me. Let me see if this shit is true. And I brought that up on Facebook maybe 2 years ago, and Spinner came in right in there. Spinner's 100% dynamic. And he says, yeah, that's true. And we almost broke his legs for that. We almost crashed Oz for fucking coming around us and learning Queen style and teaching it to Rocksteady so Rocksteady could learn it and battle Queens.
Yeah.
That you talk about true. I mean, I love Rocksteady. I love them all. But damn, that's some deep shit. That's like saying you scratch, we don't. We gonna send you to go over there and say how you learn how to scratch. But in the meantime, did you or did you not, like me, thought every single thing came out of the Bronx?
I thought everything came out the Bronx.
And now you find out it's not true, right?
Yeah. I knew there was a Brooklyn style and then there was a Bronx style. The one that I would see Rocksteady do, I knew that was the Bronx style when they would kind of like jump up and act like they up rock real fast. Because I see
Well, let me tell you
Wiggles
that
would
one.
do it though too. Yeah.
Wiggles explained this the best. Wiggles, I love that nigga, bro. Look what Wiggles said. Wiggles says they're not first generation breakers at all. Not at all. They were dude.
Hmm.
Other people were doing it, and they didn't understand what they were doing. And what they liked was the jerk. This is his words. He
Yeah.
said, "Yo, we like the way they jerked." And so for them, that's all they kept. That's why when you see
Mm.
now, there's a cha cha cha. There's all this other stuff going on, and these Apache lines, like they do. I don't like all that either. Let me say something here. That whole Brooklyn style, I don't agree with it. I don't. I mean, not that I don't. I don't do it. I don't feel comfortable hustling I want to be. I grew up with the aggressive style. So the
Mm,
breakdown when they start going up and down and jerking, and then there's another style that I know that's called outlawing, which maybe you might have seen it in Stiff Rock, Troll, Pee Wee. All these dudes are doing what they saw me do, but I also saw my brother do. You know what I'm saying? So it's
mm,
getting passed down a little bit. Sometimes you used to see me top rock and everything, and you used to see I put so much focus on the top, but it's coming from that. So with the with the Brooklyn Rock, we learned today, that the dance actually in full, not that this is Bronx style. Before it was even Bronx style, from what my understanding, it just all comes from Brooklyn first. Then
mm,
you take out of that, and because Wiggle says what we did is we took the jerks. We didn't do everything else they did. So we took the jerks and we the most aggressive part, and we went up and down, up and down. That's what we saw on B Street. So we
mm,
saw a full, complete part dance. That's why they needed us. Yo, show us this.
mm. Yeah, I remember that though, bro. Because I remember Ozrock was in Rocksteady for about a second. Because he was in a Hey You Rocksteady Crew video.
Yeah,
And he has a radio and he's like that.
yeah. He's in quite a few videos, I think. If you really look and find him, he's there. He was in People magazine back in the day when they had a picture of them snapped and they called him and Homeboy. So they named Prince Ken Swift, his whole name like that. They named Take, they named Crazy Legs, and they said and Homeboy. But this was a lot because when I knew Oz or of Oz because I was breaking also with his original crew. You cannot say Oz
Mm,
Rock without Providence, Rhode Island, without saying Top Master Crew. You must say TMC whenever you say Oz Rock before anything.
okay.
That, I don't know if you also know about the Furious Rockers, how they're also in Providence. That dude from Long Island, I think, he brought that to Providence. Providence is another hotbed where they had b-boying from like 81 or 1980, maybe somewhere around there, but they had the full thing of b-boy, the full everything, the
Mm,
quick step, all that shit. Whereas for me in Hartford, I didn't have all that because my brother was a up rocker. So my brother
mm,
went to the Bronx and all that around 76, 77, and he saw the Nomads, the Savage Nomads outlawing. So with the aggressive top rocking and with the outlawing is what we got because of him. So if he had been, let's say, more acrobatic and he would have saw the floor breaking, then I would have been a floor breaker from like 78, bro. I mean, I would have been an entirely different breaker. So I'm like a
oh,
late bloomer because we were turned on to outlawing, which would have been like if you was turned on to the rock, and then somebody else is
mm,
turned on breaking on the floor.
okay.
So by the time I came here in '83, I had already been, I had already been in the All Star crew. I had already been in the whole idea of you take this best crew, take that best crew, put them together because I had entered a competition and my crew won. And
Mm,
when we won this competition, they also looked for single b boys, right? And I came fourth place. My other boy came second. This dude from the North End, Nonstop Breakers, he came first place. And then almost all four of us, three of us, got from two, three, four, and then somebody from the North End, Antoine, who was a mega breaker before me, power mover, like because that's what I am. I actually became, even though I could do all the footwork, I could do all the outlawing. Most people notice me for my power. So in Broward County, I was that dude. Nobody could fuck with me in
mm,
Broward County. When I went to Miami and I saw the dopest b-boys in Miami, they couldn't fuck with me either. But there was my
mm-hmm.
boy. My boy Pose called me because he didn't work. My dad, I had no daddy. I had to work, so I'm getting off work 11 o'clock, then trying to find a fucking club, sneak in there for the last 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So that was my life as far as that. So I go to the B Club. This is the elite breakers in Miami. You got TDK, Speedy Legs, his Frosty Ice, his Action, Activate, whatever. You got the Street
Frosty
Masters
Ice?
started by two Frosty, you know about him? Frosty Ice?
Nah,
He would
bro.
never beat him. Speedy Legs
I
got
like that name.
three. Speedy Legs got two breakers that he used to break with that were better than him and his crew. So Speedy Legs comes from TDK back then, and he's got legendary battles with Street Masters. And I used to speak to the Street Masters. And Carlos Quiroga, his name was Kid Combination, but originally he's from Fresh Masters. Now, Miami, I am not the voice of Miami. Miami got other B-boys who can say this and they say that. I'm only talking about Street Masters and TDK, okay?
Yeah.
And the Beat Club is that club, all right? So in the Beat, you got these old school Jedis. So let's take the Jedi backer. They already kind of retired from the B-boy, all right? You still got some cats that don't let it go. Kid Freeze. Freeze is that breaker that doesn't let it go. He's gonna go all the way with it. Just like myself, I kind of went all the way. Other dudes, you get into more fashion, you get into girls, you get into working. You know what I'm saying? But you had your little minute, 2 year run where you b-boy. You see what I'm saying? Just like if you go to high school, you play basketball, then you stop. You might play with your friends a
Yeah.
little bit. So that's that Jedi mentality. You have that one period. Now the new kids are coming up. So you got these transplants in Miami, Flex, Kid Freeze, Ozrock, in Broward County. You got me a little later, but there's other transplants from Rhode Island TMC that are out here too. And some of the Miami kids could tell you other niggas from Miami or whatever, Philly or whatever they come from. But I'm gonna talk about Street Masters. Kid Freeze starts his Street Masters through a movie, which I think you know already. But let's talk about what Street Masters become because Mr. Freeze was part of that movie crew with the Street Masters. Now the Street Masters are going to take more to Kid Freeze style. So when you talk about Kid Freeze, you're talking about Queens. If you're talking about the power moves that they're doing, they're going to do Queen style. So in essence, when we talk about power moving in Florida or Miami, that area, I think Whites, I forgot the area, the little town that they're from, you're talking about Queen. They adopt the Queen style. It's all the spinning, windmill to this move, to that move, to this move, Queen style. So when I come out there, right, and I go into the book club and I run into some of these breakers, I see them for a second, and then they used to have a light that shut off when they were finished. I paid $15 to be in there 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? But I got to see some of them. I got to see some of them break, and I noticed a few of them. Paco from 2 years back, from the beat, where I saw him. And when I used to come to Miami, nobody could fuck with me, dog. I'm doing fucking full speed head spins, coming down into windmills, doing all this shit. And today I see that dude, he's a street master. But when I seen him before, he couldn't break. So you got
Mm.
another generation coming up, and he gave me mad respect. His name is Paco. He saw me, he's like, oh shit, your ass is him. And now I see him, I said, yo, he got that pants. The street masters had a specific pants they wore. So I said, oh, he must be good. Oh shit, he's that dude. He was fresh with Lee's, BVDs, and couldn't break for shit, but now he could break. You know what I'm saying? So now I see these cats, and I meet Speedy Legs a little later, and I met Carlos Quiroga way later. Now here's the stuff that I don't know about. My boy Poles used to go up in there, and he used to fuck around with Street Masters and battle and this and that. And he told me personally, Jamar, there's this nigga in Miami. And I said, what about him? He said, Joe, he'll give you fucking problems. And I'm like, who are you talking about? He goes, yo, Kid Combination, which is what we know Carlos Quiroga. And I said, what about him? He said, yo, the way he does his moves. I never met Carlos Quiroga back then. I meet him in 95. He's the one that he's going to help with Troll and some of the kids and all that. He gives them that name, Street Masters. So when I meet him, and I tell him, yo, man, my boy talked about you. And he said, what do you mean? I tell him the whole story, what I said right there. I said, because I was that dude in Broward County. No one could fuck with me. And then when I used to go to Miami, he said, out of everybody he saw in Miami, he said, you would probably give me he said, like I said, yo, the way he does his moves. And I saw Carlos Quiroga broke in New York for the Rock Denver. He was bad as fuck, bro. Bad as fuck. And he told me that he used to battle Speedy Legs crew. And he said, yo, Speedy Legs crew never beat my fucking crew. And then, of course, if you want to hear some inside, real backstory shit, Carlos used to say, out of his whole crew. Without him, you couldn't beat his crew. So that's how good he was. You know what I'm saying? Like you could beat his crew, but not with him there. So I said, so
Mm.
what were you and Speedy Legs? How did y'all do? He said, Speedy Legs never beat my crew. He said, maybe one time I was so high, I was so high that maybe that day they beat me. Now, mind you, I want to see this motherfucker break. Cause this the nigga Pose told me about the Jamar. This nigga, maybe he didn't say fuck you up, but he said, yo, he give you some problems like that. And when I saw him broke, Carlos was all that. I could see it. I don't have to see the full ability of what somebody does. I could just see you in 2 seconds, and I could see, yo, I believe you were nasty as fuck. And Carlos was like,
Mm.
Carlos told me that when he became a street master, that he felt Kid Freeze was a little bit like not feeling it because everybody was so hung up on Kid Freeze. He said, yo, I started getting so good, I started stealing the limelight away. And so he kind of told me that Kid Freeze left, but it was just a matter of, and you could see these things when breakers break and new breakers come in. They start to overshadow you. They start to take the limelight. So like when I used to see Urban Action Figure Ivan, and then all of a sudden next 5 months later, it's like, oh shit, Ivan got better than I mean Remind got better than Ivan. Like, it's like oh shit. You see how that happens? You see what I'm saying? So when we see this today, like Crumbs, if you ask me, he got better than Ivan, but Ivan had the head start first. That
Mm-hmm.
happened when Kid Combination was telling me, "Oh, Kid Freeze was this," and then I was coming in, and I was the shit, and I was the shit, and then he took off like that. Now, when I went to New York, I met Kid Freeze, and I met him with Carlos Quiroga, and I wanted to see how these two were gonna say what's up because Carlos told me that was a big story because Kid Freeze to me he's a big time name, and I gotta see the way he says what's up to you. And you know, when he saw that dude Carlos Quiroga, he gave him this like like damn you
Oh, okay.
hear you know and they supposed to be crew. They supposed to be fucking crew, street master. And Kid Freeze was just like, oh shit, you here? He's like, and he
Mm.
gave what's up like a very quiet what's up. Now for Carlos Quiroga, he was on fucking cloud nine. He was amazed. Oh, Kid Freeze is a god to him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
From Kid Freeze's point of view, he was like saying what's up to someone that had passed him in b-boying. So that
Okay.
was that was just these are just things you gotta know it and you see it. And if it was anybody in Florida in Miami that I wanted to see, it would have been that motherfucker. That my boys told me, yo, that motherfucker, he give you fucking problems. And it's a shame that he never really got into breaking. You know what I'm saying? Because we weren't really that cool with him because of the speedy legs. So that's why you seen the division of the floor fanatics. All these kids, that first crew to hit hard in Miami, and let me not take away nothing from real motherfuckers like Chilsky, the dude that you told me said what's up. We'll talk about a little bit about when we was out here. Um, if you ever seen Chilsky's crew, Deadly Venoms, they not about entering no competition. They just real motherfuckers that can do West Coast style. They can do Brooklyn rock or whatever. They do they graph. They do all that shit. Some of the other competitional b-boys actually come out later. I wasn't even a part of that. It's weird because you would think that me and Speedy, having me, Speedy, and Carlos Quiroga, that the first generation of b-boys that we taught in Miami, that they would have been the competition of b-boys. No, it actually comes after them. It actually comes with the Flip Side Kings, and maybe even more with Ground Zero. Like them cats actually become like what you know over there. Competition. They can go anywhere and everywhere. Win, lose, or draw. You know what I'm saying? Win, lose, or draw. Like, they put, if you say how long you been breaking, they say 15 years, not just I had 2 years strong.
Mm. Yeah, man, Jamar, thank you, brother. Like the sun's about to go down. We gonna tell the story till like it gets dark. I love it. Thank
There's
you,
a lot of shit
man.
I want to ask you, man. Maybe another day. There's so much I want to ask you, bro.
we can definitely do a part two. I just got something to do myself though too, actually. But sometime later in next week though, let's actually jump on and do part two.
All right, no doubt. I know I didn't talk about a lot about my history. If y'all don't know, I'm a block boy from Hartford, Connecticut. But my roots before that, I was never a chill breaker. That's to me my pride and joy crew. I never got to be in that crew. CBC, straight out of Park Street, Hartford, Connecticut.
Ooh,
All
okay.
Chili Homeboy, and I came out of Chill Out Crew to make my Chili Homeboys. In Florida, I rocked with Floor Fanatics. I love the
Mm,
motherfuckers. Regardless of the division, y'all might know some of them as Street Masters, but originally they were all Floor Fanatics. And a core of
okay.
them, they were Floor Fanatics for a long time. If I had done the art of b-boying just 2 months earlier, y'all would have saw what that crew really looked like. Now they're not the biggest b-boys ever, but if you know Miami, then you would have understood. Okay, these for them over here, the kids looked up to them. All the kids out here looked up to those kids. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. They got divided, and then you got the Street Masters over there, and then you got other crews that came out of
Okay.
Florida. But
Yeah.
your tapes were major fucking milestone out here and part of Miami B-Boy. What you and Baszler did, and whoever you pen palled with, yo, I'll try to tell you that before, bro. You inspired a lot of people passing those tapes. Because let me tell you something. When I met motherfuckers that I knew, they wouldn't even share a tape with your ass.
I know.
So you
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's why to end it off, with me, like I feel this is my personal opinion about me. I feel like I'm gonna go down as one of the greatest though because what I contribute. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you mention breaking, Mike Guy's name has to come up because I know what I've done. I know my value. I know how much that I inspired a lot of people because when I ran into Style Elements, I was already doing power. I was doing swipes footwork. I had the jacket, I had the Zulu Madonna, I had the T-shirt that said Zulu, and they were in the garage and like they was looking up to me. It's like how everybody would look up to you because I'm an '80s b-boy. I'm not a '90s b-boy. So I already
I hear
had
you,
style.
bro.
I had the Pumas on. I was putting Ivan and Arista in the back, taking them to the liquor store because they couldn't even buy beer. So it's just like I know what I contribute. So a lot of times I feel a lot of people like when they see me, they always want to overlook and look at those guys. But if you ask them personally, who was the first dude that put you in the car to take you to a jam? My name has to come up. Mikey Ice. Mikey Ice took me to Radiotron. Mikey Ice took me to the Mighty Four. Mikey Ice gave me my first Zulu medallion. So I appreciate you recognizing that because you're the only one that really actually said it publicly. But I always knew in my mind though, it's just like I know what's up though, man, and I've always loved breaking, and I've always respected you. Like I said, when I seen you first, you had the tank top on, you had a beanie on with the Adidas logo on it, and I was watching you break, and I was like, yo, this shit is way more advanced than these other dudes though, and he's hella strong, and I'm thinking like when he does halos, he's not doing like a couple of halos and fall over. Like you're doing them, I can hear your hands slapping like halo, 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 halo. The windmills was faster. The rocking was always different. I'm thinking like this dude Jamar though. I'm in my mind. I'm just like that's the real b-boy shit though. Everybody else I've seen them breaking, but I know there's a difference between breaking and b-boy. There's a
That's
huge
true.
difference. There's a lot of people that can break, but there's only so many people that can b-boy.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
And let me say one more thing about you too, bro. Real
Okay.
short. One of the things I once put out there how some of these movies were made wrong, and if you watch B Street, there's only three scenes people like. There's the battle, there's the subway battle, and then there's the where they were supposed to battle. And Kiriaki said, "Yo, what's up with that, punk?" There's always the mystery. Damn, how come the movie didn't follow the breakers? That filming you did, you fucking followed the breakers, bro. That's why everybody loves your tapes, bro. You feel
Yeah.
me? What I'm trying to say? You'd be on the street. I think you saw Ivan head spinning on the fucking cement, a flat or a head spin on cement. You went with them to the fucking roller rink. You were at practices. Nobody was doing that shit back then, bro.
No, yeah.
Nobody.
I was
And,
following them. Yeah.
and nobody could say shit that they learned on their own, bro. Like I said, I don't know how many people you fucking pen pal them tape with. And like I told you, a lot of b-boys that I knew wouldn't fucking share a fucking tape. And think about it. You spread a lot of b-boying, bro. A lot of b-boying because I probably would have never seen that level of fucking b-boying in Cali
Oh,
that y'all were doing there without you, bro.
yeah. If I want to give those tapes to Baser, nobody was. I'm the only one sending tapes to Miami. Only one.
So y'all
Because
hear
I had
that?
a job.
Everybody out there, give this motherfucker respect right here, bro. The mighty Mikey Ice, bro. Fucking following the b-boy. You follow the
Yeah,
do
though,
that.
bro. I was always following them, though, bro. And me and Mendez, he'll send me a tape, and I'll be like, yo, okay, Hot Wheels, or okay, Kick and Break versus like Street Masters. And I'll be like, what do I got? And I'll be like, oh, Jazzy J and the Renegades versus Style Elements. And I would take it to work, and I worked at UPS. And when my boss would look the other way, I would sneak it and put it in a box with my base's
Oh
name
wow.
on it, throw it in the truck,
Oh
though,
wow.
bro. And that shit, that was a $15 package.
Yeah.
But I worked in the apartment though, bro. So that's why the motherfucking tasters come like shooting out like Roman candles though, bro. And that's how my collection and me and Base's collection started building up. Because as fast as he sent me a tape, I can get him the same tape by tomorrow.
Wow. So anyway, let me give a shout out to some cats out there. My
All right.
nigga, Quickie, my nigga. No one, anybody, can no one ever say take anything away from fucking Quickie? Quickie was one of the first fucking dope power movers out there. And Tro, whether a lot of people like him or not, he had his time. There's no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Pee Wee came up in there and he was in it. He had his little time too. Mad respect to that brother, but I love his style from the beginning.
Wait, real quick, hold up, real quick, hold up, real quick. Take it back, cause Quickie just got on. Say it so Quickie can hear it.
Oh
Quickie
yeah,
just
like I
got on.
said, man, my big shout out to my nigga Quickie, who was one of the first major fucking power movers in fucking Florida. Right there. You heard me say it. Jam City Jamar, I'm saying that nigga passed me out with his fucking power. He's effortless, bro. Effortless. Another one, like I said, whether y'all like him or not, Tro was another one who had his time out there. Another one was
Mm-hmm.
Pee Wee, had his time. My personal homeboys, my nigga like Miguelism, Quickie, Stiff, Roger Rabbit, and now also I want to give a large shout out. Remember, I'm not from Miami, dog, but I give these motherfuckers
Okay.
respect. My nigga Flowmaster Flex, rest in peace, fucking Carlos Quiroga. Also another nigga named Styles, Supreme One. You know, I always used to talk to Supreme One about, you know, I love the way you always into that footwork, this and that. He was a different, I think he was a Cali nigga, bro. Supreme One was from the
Okay.
West Coast. I don't know if you know that. So he knew
Okay.
his b-boys before all these cats. That was,
Okay.
I think I got his story right too, like that. And also, man, you gotta give some respect, my nigga Chilsky and his deadly venoms out there. Don't get too close to the venom, but yo, that and
All
my
right.
crew out here saying, Mikey Ice, my nigga, you opened up a lot of heads with your filming, bro. Man, shout out to you too, bro.
All right, Jamar, thank you. Peace and respect, though, bro. And we're going to do a part 2 next week.
All right, peace out.
All right. Peace.